Welcome to Full Throttle, where we sit down with the women shaping business, industries, and culture to talk about what really drives them. Thanks for joining, Belle. So nice to meet you finally.
I know, it's so nice, Zoe.
Okay, let's start with some super quick questions.
Yep.
Cocktail of choice.
Well, I don't drink, so let's say like a ginger beer, Bundaberg.
I love that. If you could design a custom piece for anyone, who's wearing Avant?
Oh my God, Olivia Dean.
Yes.
Like it's already in the works.
Oh, it isn't in the works? You're talking to her?
No. So we know like her management when she comes here. So like it is literally like pie in the sky, but
oh my
like
God.
working on it. It's going to be like months in the making. But yes, that is the absolute dream. Like she is class personified. So I'm
it's
obsessed
super
with her.
feasible.
Well,
Wow.
let's just be Delulu and like
Absolutely.
that. Yeah.
Manifest it. Fun fact, we have the exact same birthday, the exact same year. I know.
No way.
Yeah.
Wow.
Claim to fame, the only one I have.
No, that is a claim. That is a serious claim.
If your aesthetic was a city.
Oh, that's so hard. Once upon a time, I would have said Paris.
I would pick you to say Paris.
Yeah. I mean, there's definitely like a Parisian sentiment to everything that I do. However, there's such a strong part of me that is like very like beachy Mediterranean that I just like love being by the water. So I'd say probably somewhere in like Puglia in Italy.
Stunning.
Yeah.
Designic, cheap packaging or chaotic branding?
Oh, that's both icks. I think the chaotic branding is worse because I feel like more people see it.
Yep. Agreed.
Mm.
Your ultimate quiet luxury indulgence?
I don't know if I am quiet luxury or not. Like,
okay.
I like luxury. I don't know if it's quiet.
Let's unpack that.
I like, yeah, okay. I would say like I'm not, I am subtle in some ways, but I am also very colourful. So in a way, quiet luxury is always a bit beige in my mind. I would say my indulgence, like on my list, is like a vintage Fendi baguette, like something like beaded or embroidered or like something really super unique that like no one's seen for 20 years.
I love that.
Yeah. I don't know if it's quiet.
Are you a big vintage shopper?
Yeah, I love designer vintage. I got super into it in Japan.
Oh my God,
just heaven. Like I think purely because the craftsmanship of designer items is actually just unparalleled.
Yeah.
And when you're getting something that is from like a different era, it becomes like unique. And when it's at a more accessible price point, that's just like the icing on the cake.
Do you like it because it is hard to get and it is unique, or do you like the era that it came from generally?
Probably both. Like I love something that is just like unique and like there's not many of them, but I'm very inspired by like eras of the past, like especially between I'd say like, the 60s to the 90s.
Yeah.
There's always like an anchor in like one of those decades that will inspire something for me. So if I can sort of recognize something that I like from that era, I will be like, oh my God, I need it.
I love that. And does that translate into the blueprint of Avant and how you design your pieces?
Definitely. 100%. Like I usually like a feeling will come upon me of like, I need to do like big, bold, like 80s earrings, like semi-precious stones. And then I really like delve into that decade and kind of get like the inspiration of like, what did the hair look like? What did the makeup look like? And it very much then inspires what the collection will look like.
That's amazing. Okay, so let's get into the hot take. I'm going to ask you questions on some hot topics. So we know that jewellery is going through a new era of minimalism.
Mm-hmm.
Avant is a bit different. Talk to me about minimalism. Do you feel like that's something that you have to lean into, or can you be quite unique in the way that you design your pieces?
I actually find that the more unique you are, the more you stand out. And I feel like everyone needs some type of point of differentiation. I feel like minimal is very easy to do. It's, you can do a, classic gold hoop or whatever. And it's always good to have those as your core range as a base because someone's probably always going to want that. However, the pieces that kind of have the focus and create the brand are the more unique pieces. For example, I designed these cherry earrings and they've just kind of become like an icon that people sort of associate with the brand because it's really unusual to have cherries on your ears. But it's adorable and they're one of my favorite ever pieces I've designed. And I think, I do think just personally, I've never been someone that wants to sort of like wear things that are really, I guess, quiet and bland. I don't want to say bland because I understand like minimalism, I suppose, would mean something different to me anyway.
Yeah.
But I just prefer like unique, a little bit more fun pieces because I think jewellery really kind of provides that
definitely
fun aspect.
It does.
Yeah.
It does. That to me says that Avant is more authentic than a lot of other brands.
Yeah.
Would you say that is
definitely
the case? Yeah.
I mean, purely from the fact that I'm designing everything. Like everything has to resonate with me. And I'm not entirely focused on trends. Obviously, if a trend speaks to me, I'll go down that path. E.g. toe rings. Like genuinely prior to COVID, I was like flipping through this like really old, I think it was like a Vogue jewelry book. And I saw these toe rings and I was like, oh my God, toe rings. How cool would that be?
Yeah.
And I remember putting it up as like a poll on Instagram for like the small following we had then. And everyone was like, ew, no, that's weird. And then like lo and behold, like 6 months ago, I start seeing toe rings and I was like, is it the time? Like, can I do it now?
That is so funny. Toe rings literally just brings me back to like 6-year-old me in Bali with a crop top and a toe ring.
No, and like it's that's such a look right now. Like 100%. Like it's kind of, there's this really cool Spanish brand. I can't say it. It's called like Himawa or something, but it's spelled like with a G.
Yeah.
And they kind of have that whole aesthetic. Like it is like you're a 6-year-old in Bali. It's very 90s or like early 2000s. And like that's not obviously my aesthetic, but I appreciate that what they're doing with it. And I was like, I'll do toe rings in my way.
Exactly. That's right. You can adopt that broader trend, but you do it in your own way and you can have that distinctive design.
Totally.
Though it's yours.
Exactly.
So building desirability, how do you generally do that without relying on hype?
I would say showing things in as many different contexts as possible. So I find that when we like pick a particular product that like, okay, this is going to be like a signature this season, I really try to be quite broad and thorough with how I show up for that product. So that would mean like how many different like ways can I photograph it? How many different people can I get it on so that it shows people styling in their own way, in their own context. This year I've kind of shied away from influencers. I think like real people are a lot more relevant.
More organic.
Yeah. And I just think relatable. Like there are like friends of the brand who are kind of like, I guess, ambassadors that we've sort of had along the whole journey of the business that are still like a representation of the brand. Yeah. So again, like coming back to that authenticity thing, like I just don't want to throw product at people to make it desirable and relevant. It's more like, okay, does that person love that piece? Do they want to wear it all the time? Is it going to be part of their daily routine? And I think that really shines through like when you show that to the general public, like they can see that it's like genuinely something they love. I also show it a lot on me. Like I'm always like taking people through like my journey with something. So like my daily life, even the team's daily life. So I guess it's very humanized and that's kind of what creates the desirability.
So true. And again, this brings us back to the core of your brand, which is that authentic approach. So it all ties in together. Okay. How do you think about the tension between timeless design and trend cycles in a world that is completely obsessed with what's next?
I'm very tuned in to what speaks to me. So I'm never really going to go ahead with something unless it's something I would wear and be proud of. So even if it is a trend, like it has to work with my aesthetic personally. And then I guess the brand is an extension of me. So those two things are really tied together. I like there are sort of things that you need to jump on when I guess there's like, you know, again, I tend to be quite ahead of like what's coming because I just think naturally that's just who I am. Like I kind of like to be on the forefront. Like when silver started making a resurgence. Like, I kid you not, like it was like me 5 years ago being like, silver's coming.
Does that come from overseas influence?
I think I just must see like tiny little like things coming through, like fashion runway. Like, I've always been obsessed with runway shows. Like, since I was like, I don't know, 12, like I would like memorize like all the models that would appear in the shows and like the outfits, the accessories, like everything. So I think maybe subconsciously I start getting little signals about things,
and
then
they preempt the trend.
Yeah, and then again, like if it speaks to me, like I was like, silver, amazing. I think silver is great. So I really started kind of like breadcrumbing people with little bits of silver over the last 5 years, and it's just slowly grown more and more and more to be, because it was 99.9% gold. Like that was like no one was buying silver, but it always changes. You know, who knows? There might be like a rose gold renaissance, but I
hope not.
I hate it. No, I'm like, no. Except like 2011, I bought this hideous Michael Kors like rose gold watch. Like, it was such an
I think
era.
I had the same. I had the Marc Jacobs one, I think.
It's hideous. I was like, what was I thinking? But like, that's the thing with trends, right? Like the brands kind of like dictate how you feel about them. So like, don't expect me to be doing rose gold. It's just probably
big chunky watches.
People do inquire. They're like, oh, you don't do rose gold. I'm like, sorry, like it's just no can do.
No.
Not at the moment. Yeah.
Okay, we're going to go into the blueprints. This is about you and how you've built your business. So let's talk about the inception of Avant. How did it happen? What made you bite the bullet?
So before I started Avant, I actually had a clothing label that I manufactured in Sydney.
Wow.
And I started it when I was 19. It was very kind of baptism by fire. Like, I had no clue what I was doing, no business acumen, like pretty much just like a uni dropout that really like loved clothes, you know, had like done a lot of sewing in my life. And I just wanted to create something that felt like me. So I did that for 4 years. And because I had like no guidance, no funding, like no mentorship, nothing, it was very much like chasing my tail. Like, I didn't have the business part down pat. I just did it on a whim and hoped, you know, once I produced the pieces that people would buy them. And they did. Yeah. However, like, you know, running a business takes so much more than that. It's such a cycle, and, you know, cash flow, something I didn't realize was so important. So that it's sort of like after 4 years, I realized I didn't have any kind of financial freedom or stability, and it was kind of like hindering me moving forward with things. So I decided to let that go. And then over like I had about a year or something off, and then I just like found myself back in a position where I wanted to be my own boss again. And a creative outlet. And it actually started as a multi-brand online platform for jewelry, like curating.
Oh wow.
Just initially, because there wasn't really anything for jewelry, like a multi-brand online boutique for jewelry at the time. And it just so happened that it was like the very start of 2020. And like, I think back to it now, and like the overnight success with $0 spent on marketing blows my actual mind. Like, I'm saying like no dollars. I don't know how people were finding us. Like, I have no clue, but they were buying everything that we were curating online to the point where like we weren't even purchasing the stock. We would wait for the sale and then purchase it from, I mean, we had the relationships with the other designers, but we would then like, we were just in a flexible position where they would allow us to do that. And then kind of a short time later, I was finding it really hard to control the brand narrative based on other people's product. Because there are a lot of issues with quality, and then that's really hard because you're then, you know, speaking to customers representing another brand. You want to uphold, you know, respect for that brand. However, how do you deal with their quality issues? Like you can't. So there was a real need to kind of create like our own brand identity. And for me, just going back into design, you know, it's just what I do. Like my brain is just constantly designing things, like still designing clothes actually. Like
you're still doing that?
No, just in my head. I wish I hate with a burning passion production management. Like that is my one thing that I find incredibly difficult still. So with clothes is like the pits, like it is, in my opinion, like the worst job for me. When it has come to jewellery, it's something I've just had to grin and bear. But it's so much less complicated, like the sampling process and everything, than it is with clothing.
Why is that?
Just like less detail, no sizing.
Yeah,
really.
exactly.
I mean, like you have sizing with rings, but it's like minute, like measurements and details, and it just there's less that can go wrong when you order a sample. Whereas like I used to order samples of clothes and it would turn up like it's a size 10, but it has a size 6 tag.
Oh,
like
God.
the seams have been like sewn in backwards. Like there's no like, you know, everything that I asked for would be wrong. There'd be like a hole in the front. Like it just always something went wrong. And like things definitely still go wrong now, but I feel like, it's much easier. It's still something that I will eventually delegate because I don't think it's my strength.
Yep.
But yeah, I mean, it's super necessary to focus on. But back to the journey. So I think like 6 months after the business launch, kind of had like a capsule collection that was like really simple. Like it wasn't, I don't think I felt safe enough to make it like a manifestation of like my wildest like ideas. It was like quite simple because what we had been selling was quite simple. So after that, like I remember going like live on Instagram being like, hey, like this is the collection.
I love that.
Oh my God. And like the website is so bad. Like
Did you make it yourself? Did you do everything yourself?
Like I've always done everything myself.
Yeah.
And like I guess now I look back and like what I managed to achieve now in terms of website design versus then is so funny to me. And like I was like, how did I put that out? Like it's so ugly. Like I did all the branding, like everything.
I love that evolution though.
Yeah, it is. It's humbling. I'm like, ew, that's so gross. Why did you do that?
At the time it worked.
Yeah, it did. It did.
Yeah.
And I guess like in a way back to this like authenticity thing, like maybe it was super clear that it was like a rinky-dink backyard operation to some, so that like, you know, when it is like that, people want to support you more than when it's like some anonymous conglomerate.
Yep.
But it is an interesting point I am rattling on, but it was something I was thinking about, like this whole building in public thing versus like the privacy and like mystery. And I think I sit somewhere in between because I am a very open person face to face.
Yep.
Like I'm such an oversharer, like I'll tell you anything. But when it comes to sharing online, it's like a completely different story because I feel super vulnerable doing that. And I'm so sensitive that I'm like, don't come for me. That was actually like the reason why we like Sophie and I named our podcast Don't At Me, because it was like, don't come for me.
Yep.
So like there's an element to where I lean in, have like lent in to this like personal, I guess like founder-led element in the last like, I guess probably 3 years of the business. But there's definitely a line that I draw where like when it comes to like the problems I'm facing in the business or the challenges, I find it very hard to share that publicly.
Yeah.
And I see a lot of like other female founders doing it and being super transparent. And I'm so like impressed at that vulnerability. But I do find it hard just to, you know, like for example, I mean, here's me actually sharing that like this year, so much of the stock was late. There was so many things happening that needed to be rearranged with like, you know, Black Friday is always like such a pain with trying to like time collections and everything.
Yeah.
And like there were just some massive like stuff ups. And, you know, it is one of those things where do I come out and explain it to everyone so they understand? Will they even notice? Like, do they notice that things are going wrong? No, not really. But is it one of those things where it's relatable content, therefore I should share it? Or is it one of those things where I'm like, I feel like this is private and vulnerable and I'm not wanting to like expose myself?
Yes.
Yeah.
Now,
So,
is it something you want to work on? Are you striving to be able to share that type of content?
there's definitely elements that I really want to share.
Yeah.
Like the behind the scenes of what is going on, you know, building something, especially when it comes to like building a collection. I think the parts that I'm still not sure about sharing is the actual hardships. Because again, like it's just a level of vulnerability that I don't know that I'm 100% comfortable with.
Makes sense.
Yeah. And I think, there's a sense of like, I guess I don't want to feel like I'm a failure with like certain elements. So then it is that thing of like, you're putting it out for judgment. a
That's
little bit.
true.
Yeah.
And then once you do that, you kind of have to keep them on the journey.
Yeah, you do.
You can't just come out with one crisis and be like,
no, it's like cat's
that's
out
it.
of the bag.
Yeah.
Yeah, which like in some ways it's a huge advantage. But yeah, there's definitely a line of like privacy as a founder that I don't want to cross.
I respect that.
Mm.
In the very early days of the business, what were some really pivotal decisions that you made or ones that you wish you had done differently?
I mean, I think the timing of introducing our own product was just so opportune because as soon as we kind of did that, like COVID really like properly hit and the lockdowns happened.
Yeah.
And then people had free money from the government.
Yeah.
And so they were just like spending like you wouldn't believe. So
I didn't know that it extended into jewelry. I knew skincare and self-care. I mean, I guess jewelry kind of is a form of self-care.
Like we definitely spin it that way.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah.
No, it really is. Like it
Yeah.
does make you feel good. And it very much was this thing of people just wanted to buy stuff. So
Yeah.
it was extremely pivotal in kind of jump-starting a business of like not only like revenue, but creating a community because like you acquire those customers, like you can keep them. So then it just allowed and obviously there were several lockdowns. So like over the space of a couple of years, what it almost couldn't be done in other times, like self-funded without any kind of, I don't know, strategy, I suppose. Yeah. It was very much a like slow and steady growth idea. Yeah. And that has always been my philosophy in a way of like, I'm not looking for like overnight success. I just really wanted to actually like take the time to like build a brand. And I do feel like it was a perfect storm with COVID allowing that to happen.
How was the growth after lockdown? Was it sustained or was there a dip? And how did you manage it?
Oh, the dip happened for sure.
Okay.
There was such a false sense of security.
Yeah.
And because it's such an unprecedented event that was COVID, no one knew really what was going on. And it definitely dropped off a cliff very quickly. And I guess at that time it was like, okay, what are we not doing? And we weren't doing a lot because it was like too easy really.
Yeah.
It was like, you know, there wasn't a lot of like time or effort invested into the website. Like we weren't doing any proper advertising. Like the influencer marketing was minimal. Even like email marketing really like not touched on, like just all of the aspects that are really, really paramount now for an e-commerce business.
Yeah.
I think that they became a huge priority as soon as that like drop off was experienced.
It's kind of good that you knew what you could work on.
Yeah.
It wasn't like you were hitting all the marks on all of those things. You're like, shit, now what?
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah. But that's sort of now, like there's been so many like ebbs and troughs.
Yep.
Since then that there's still very much like, you know, I feel as though we're nailing the effort levels across the board, but it doesn't always then translate the way that you want it to. And that's a real challenge when you are actually like pressing all the buttons and like pulling all the levers, but it's not actually thriving perhaps in the way that you would imagine. And it's always awful having the comparison of like, oh, this was once so easy. This is once so uncomplicated.
Yeah.
And it's still like now like a challenge. Like the more growth, the more SKUs, the more staff. Yeah. It's just inherently more complicated.
And is it more complicated because consumers change what they're looking for and their preferences? You kind of have to keep up with that?
Yeah, I do feel that this year has been especially tough just with people being a lot more intentional about their spending. I feel as though there was a bit of an iceberg effect with kind of interest rates and people kind of, and like the cost of living going up and inflation and everything. I feel like it was very delayed in people's like psychology towards it. And then like the pinch, it was a very slow pinch to the point where, you know, now it's like people are just a lot less frivolous with their spending. And it's very much been indicative from like our other like, because we've got like 3 distribution channels, like primary being like our e-com website. We have like an iconic marketplace relationship, and then obviously wholesale. And like those two other secondary channels have definitely suffered this year, which is just like a general indication, because it's separate from like our core business, that's sort of like indicative of consumer spending across the board. So even though, you know, our primary channel is the most profitable channel and the biggest channel, like you're fighting 10 times harder for what you once got quite easily.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's still a challenge.
How do you approach growth while staying small batch and considered? Where's the line between scaling and overextending?
Yeah, scaling is an interesting one. I just personally didn't enter into this to like create some like multi-billion-dollar like world domination company.
What was your ambition?
It's always been to like have a creative outlet to bring like beautiful and meaningful things to people that make them feel good. And things you can keep forever, things that make you smile, mainly for women. And I think gifting is like a huge aspect of that. And I'm such like a thoughtful gift giver.
Yeah.
So when it comes to like gifting other people, like nothing is more joyful. So for me, it's always been like deeply personal in that way. And it's been about like a slow, like trust building of a brand. And then I guess, of course, there's an element of I want to be able to support myself financially and be comfortable. I want to be able to have like a team of amazing people that I love and create an environment for them to have like basically a job that doesn't feel like a job, like a place where they can come in and feel joy and like passion in what they're doing.
Lovely.
And really like that is what it is about for me. Like it's not. It's a bit of like a controversial topic because obviously like when you have a business, you're inherently like capitalistically focused. But there is a line in the sand for sure between it being just about money and about growth and it being like an intentional business that is actually about, you know, beauty and thoughtful gifts. And I think I've never really considered like funding for like scaling. I think there's definitely scaling that I would like to do purely from just like a distribution standpoint and like expanding into international markets. But everything has been like a slow and steady perspective for me. And just like I'm pretty patient. So it's kind of I think
I sense that.
Yeah.
That's good.
Yeah. I think when you grow something slowly over time, you also get a sense of like really and truly like what do people want? How, like what tone of voice do you need to speak to them to really connect with them? Like I feel like you don't miss any of those cues. And I feel like despite it being a brand that is a representation of me, it's still like a intention of mine to communicate with people in a way that they want to be communicated with.
Yeah.
Yeah.
For those comms to resonate, obviously different audiences like different things. Were you clear on your target audience and your positioning in order to be able to understand how to do that?
Yes. So the target market like really has always kind of been like me.
Yeah.
So like it's aged with me.
Yeah.
So I mean being like I guess on the cusp of like I guess like zillennial, like between like millennial and Gen Z, it's always somewhere between that sort of I guess not old school, but like refined, less playful aspect, more sophisticated, and then still being like fresh, vibrant, and like culturally relevant with like like I always have like younger girls who are very Gen Z that are like, you know, telling me all the like I don't know, things that are going on TikTok, you know, 6, 7. I'm like, what the hell is that?
I learned that the other day. I was like, oh, sorry, what?
I don't know.
I still don't know what it means.
No, I don't know. And you kind of need, you know, you need them to like keep you in the loop with that sort of stuff. Yeah. And like, I think that that's like a humor that can really be translated through socials too that make people like, haha, oh, they're relevant. So yeah, I guess I'm always just like tuning in what it is that like my friends and I are kind of needing and wanting. And then that sort of becomes a reflection of what how we're speaking to people and what we're kind of putting out there. I don't know if that's right or wrong, but that's just the way it is.
Well, it makes the most sense. Again, the authenticity piece.
Yeah, it's true.
So, okay, how do you balance creative control with commercial demands? What do you think have been the biggest trade-offs?
I don't know how much I trade off with it anymore.
Yeah.
I used to be a lot more conscious of, I guess, doing bolder things. And like I said before, I've learnt that the bolder, the better. That you think, oh, like, is this really chunky, like, gemstone necklace going to hit? Like, are people going to be like, ugh, I wouldn't wear that. No, like, everyone wants it. It's like the bestseller. Like,
yes.
So I think in the beginning I definitely was a little bit more reserved with things I would do, but I would then realize that if you release like a gold hoop that is just, like like 30 mil gold hoop, it's very hard to compete on that
get it.
with, especially like digitally. Like you just, why is someone going to buy that gold hoop?
Yeah.
Like so I quickly kind of realized that it very much is about like stay in your own lane. Do what you feel is right for your brand. And the authenticity will shine through.
Yeah.
I do think people run into trouble when they have like relationships with large retailers.
Mm-hmm.
Like I know that's something that I had considered in the past of like going into David Jones. And there were a few cautionary tales from other business owners that were like, just be careful, like they'll want you to do like an exclusive collection the way that they want it, and then when it doesn't sell, they'll blame you. I like that sort of stuff. So I think I was conscious of really not doing that, because there would honestly, it would be nothing more like infuriating than that situation.
Do you think brand leverage matters in that situation? Would you do that when the brand's a bit more developed and you do have that authority to decline those types of opportunities?
Yeah. I mean, look, I think I find it out of principle just really frustrating that like larger retailers take advantage of small brands because they're the most vulnerable and then, are at the mercy of large ones that can kind of like afford to take on more risk, which is the reason why I haven't gone down that path. Again, I'm quite risk adverse. I'm not really, of course, like being a business owner and like throwing yourself in the deep end is a risk in itself. However, it's always kind of like assessed risk and like informed decisions. And I did a lot of like thought about prioritizing, I guess, brand clout and claiming you're in a big retailer and like the PR moment of that versus the reality of like, is this a good decision for the business? How is it going to impact cash flow? It can honestly like bankrupt your business because of like, they give you shitty payment terms.
The margin.
Yeah, the margin is terrible. Like it could literally be the beginning of the end.
For sure.
And I think making sure that I was not in my ego with that sort of decision was really important.
Yeah.
And that's the way that it ended up being, but where it's not something until, the tides turn and it's like, oh, we really want you and we'll do whatever. Like that type of leverage would be like a safe way to go about it. But, us approaching them and just trying really hard to get our foot in the door and potentially having terrible terms to deal with and it impacting the whole rest of the business. Yeah. Definitely not what you want.
Even the rush of having to scale really quickly can be really dangerous.
No, well, like even recently on a smaller scale, we've done a collaboration with like a creator and actually a personal friend of mine.
Yeah,
coming soon, like very soon. And it was like just a commitment, even just to that, because it was like a whole extra collection in the middle of everything else, and so you just do almost need to treat it like it's a separate entity. Of the business, because it involves again like different margins, like a whole different like contractual agreement, and then you do have to make sure that it doesn't impact the way that the rest of the business flows.
How do you feel about brick-and-mortar stores? Is that in your future?
Yeah, so most people will be like, wait, haven't you been saying for like 5 years you will never go into retail? I definitely was against the idea for a very long time, purely because I did my time in retail and was like, that is exhausting. I can't handle it. And then I would say over the course of the last year, it kind of occurred to me that I had made my mind up about it based on apparel. I hadn't really considered it from a jewellery perspective, which sounds kind of stupid, but I guess because my experience in retail had been like clothing.
Yeah.
I hadn't really considered the distinction between the two. And I think inherently because jewellery is so personal and there is such a gifting element that it is one of those things that people do want to like see and feel.
Try on.
And
Yeah.
like, you know, is it weighted? Like what's the colour of the gold like? Like,
does it match my other jewellery? Exactly.
Like there are a lot more questions answered in that scenario than I probably gave it credit for.
Yes.
And then like our current office has no retail capacity. And so I've got 6 months left on the lease and I was thinking like, okay, like where do I want to be? Like where do I want to go next? Like I'm kind of ready for a change. And I think it seemed pretty silly paying for an office when you could probably have like either a retail element or at least a showroom. And I just started browsing commercial real estate and I found a place down in Manly. And my partner lives in Manly, so
perfect.
I'm moving down there. Like everything was kind of like, oh, okay. I went and saw this space. It had been empty for a while. And I just thought, wow, this is much sooner than I had anticipated doing this, but it kind of feels right. Like I think I should do it.
Very good.
So I very much threw caution to the wind and decided to commit to it. And this has been like the space of like 2 months. Like it's been,
oh my God.
It's been so intense. And also it's so last minute that I needed to find like an interim kind of solution for not having time to do a fit out or anything. So essentially we are popping up. Like it will, like by the time this airs, we will be
permanent.
We'll be there.
I love it.
It's our summer residency in Manly, and it'll be the first experience of like my own personal retail situation, which I'm super excited for because I do love talking to people.
Yeah.
So I think it will be really great to be able to actually speak to people like day to day about what they want. I think it will give me a lot of inspiration for what collections I should be doing. I think it felt like the right lever to pull in terms of the current climate online because I think, you know, you can speak to people and you can convert people in real life based on experience. It's very hard to do that online at the moment. It's your customer acquisition is expensive.
Yes.
Doing it like bricks and mortar is not expensive. And I think that has been the shift in landscape that I've noticed that made it feel like this is the right decision for now.
That is so exciting. Yeah. I can't wait. And will you be hands on? Will your hands be on deck? Like, will you be in the shop?
Yeah, definitely. Yep. I mean, considering, like I will obviously be there a lot at the beginning. Yeah. Depends how exhausted I get from like just like being on my feet. I think I'll love it just being there. I'll always be coming and going from the store. But I think, like long term, I'm going to like build like a retail team that will be like super excited to be there and like really like creating the dream that is Avant Studio.
That's so beautiful. I can't wait. Very exciting.
Yeah.
Okay, moving into my favorite segment, In Good Taste. So I want to hear your icon, your indulgence, and your inspiration. Start with icon.
Okay, like back to Olivia Dean. Like I am just beyond obsessed with her. I think because I've had like a frustration when it comes to like famous people of late that they're really, this sounds judgy, but lacking class.
Yep.
And then out comes Olivia, just the classiest,
naturally
most beautiful, naturally gorgeous, embracing her natural features, dresses like I just can't even explain. Like everything is just so sophisticated and it speaks to me in so many ways I can't even explain. So and just the music, the lyrics, everything. Like I am like the girls in the office will like laugh at me because every single day that I come in, I'm like, where's Olivia? And I'm like, turn it on every single day. So we listen to Olivia on repeat in the office. So she very much is like in my ears inspiring me. And she is the icon. And
yes.
Just,
in lots of different ways.
Yeah, so many ways.
I read this comment on Instagram the other day and it was like, Olivia Dean's music sounds like that song in a noughties movie rom-com when they're like running through Central Park. I was like, literally.
It's so true.
That's the feeling it gives
Oh my God, it 100% does. And like so many of my friends like going through different like life things, it'll be like, this is my breakup playlist.
Yeah.
Or like, like my best friend Tat was just living in New York for 6 months, and like she would run through Central Park like listening to Olivia Dean and just like soaking it all in. And like it is like it's like emotional, like just beautiful music.
Yep.
There's so much natural beauty to it, and I think that's what I'm really attracted to with her. Yeah.
And it reflects your brand too.
It does. So like stay tuned
Perfect.
for the Olivia collab
so
that I am
excited.
manifesting. Yeah.
Okay, indulgence. Something you love and wouldn't give up.
Indulgence. Like I wouldn't say like matcha is an indulgence.
This one is.
Yeah, the
strawberry.
Yeah, I do.
So
just
good.
like love. I went actually to this pop-up matcha place in Manly on the weekend, and it's like the real deal, like the most high ceremonial grade matcha.
What does that mean?
Find.
I always see it.
It's basically someone tried to challenge me and say this was like a myth, and I was like, no. So basically, like in Japan, when they're like gathering the tea leaves, the new tea leaves are like super bright green because they've just like sprouted. So those new leaves are the leaves that they harvest, and then obviously because they're so new, they're super vibrant in their color, and like the taste is very fresh and like lacking bitterness because it's like a baby leaf. And so then the color of it is then super vibrant. Whereas as the leaves age, you get less and less kind of like
green
quality of flavor, green, all those things.
Yep.
So I'm like a matcha snob. Like I when I see like the color of it, and I will know. Like if it says ceremonial grade, I'll be like, that's not green enough.
Is this? Are they lying to me?
Well, that looks quite like diluted. I don't know about the color.
Oh,
but that looks like it. Like I'll put like mine will be like dark green.
The powder is like green.
Yeah, like sometimes I put a bit too much in, but I'm like, I'm caffeinated now.
So good.
Yeah,
I love it. Do you have any favorite cafes that you get it from?
Pina.
Oh yes,
like that is so. I'm obviously not in Potts Point a lot because I'm north side.
Yeah.
Noon in Manly is really good.
Okay.
But Pina is like the OG. Like I don't think you can find better matcha than a Pina.
And do you like iced or hot?
Just depending on the season. Like I'm a very seasonal eater as well. So like if it's a hot day, it's iced. If it's a cold day, it's hot.
Yes. Absolutely. Okay, inspiration.
Inspo.
It could be a person, it could be a thing.
Kind of like what I touched on before. I was actually thinking about this. I do think that like fashion throughout the ages is probably my biggest inspiration.
Mm-hmm.
Controversially, I don't like to like look at what's going on right now too much for inspo because I kind of get overstimulated and a bit lost because I feel like I'm being influenced.
Yes.
I don't really want to be influenced by like, I guess, like media right now. So I try to kind of look back on trends of the past, like icons of the past. I like have a lot of like old coffee table books that I look through. Like Pinterest is obviously just like such a great tool because it's so gifted algorithmically that once you start kind of like pinning things, it'll show you things that you love. And I do think I'll like pin bits and pieces into like themes.
Yep.
And then that theme will develop in my head. So I think
it's amazing.
that
you actually are really a creative by nature.
Yeah,
is what I'm picking up.
I definitely am. And I like to try and do things that allow me to lean into that a bit more because
for sure.
Inherently like owning a business, you're really like half the time you have to be like very
you're
kind
restricted.
of like, you have to be like, okay, I'm like paying bills and dealing with operations. And that is completely at odds with the creative side. Like you can't just like be in your creative element all the time. But like travel will always ignite inspiration for me. Like I'm planning another trip to Japan just because I just absolutely loved it. And I do feel like it was super inspirational. But I like usually the most inspirational people to me are like really funny, random like women who either have like really cool like media jobs in like Paris, London, New York, who just are themselves and they have their own style and they're really unique and they don't follow like a particular type of like grid vibe or anything. Like I like it when they're a little bit haphazard. Yeah. And I find them probably like the most inspirational. I think the girl that I love is I think her Instagram is called like Secondhand Huns, and she's actually Irish, but she lives in Sweden. I think it's Swedish folk don't quote me, that she works for, but she's also hilarious. Like she's just a really funny person, and she's very much herself. So I think those types of people really like kind of inspire me, I guess, to be that way myself, like to really like lean into my
We're
own.
channeling it.
Yeah, exactly. So that's probably my most like how I inspire myself the most, but quiet time as well. Like just not being stimulated by things.
Yep.
I think that's probably when I feel my most creative, just like noise cancelling headphones, or like on a beach somewhere with no one there. Like I'll be sitting on a beach being like, wouldn't it be cool if I did like a clothing line and I did like dark denim with like red contrast stitching? Like that would be so cool. I've been thinking about it so much. I'm like, should I create a uniform for the store? Like,
yes.
Yeah, no, I will.
You should.
So you just watch this space.
I will. Okay, let's get into unfiltered.
Okay.
These are a bit heavier.
Mm-hmm.
What do you think has been the hardest moment financially, emotionally, creatively that led you to rethink either your path or your process?
That happens all the time. I think, as I was saying before with like cash flow, it will really like depend like how healthy the cash flow is will be how mentally sane I am. And transparently, like I was like sitting in my bed last night like in tears because
oh my God,
it's just hard. Like it is just hard to keep everything together. It is hard to balance like creativity. Like at the moment I'm trying to like get ideas out for next year, but I've got about 7 different projects currently in the air. To be able to like extract that creativity from me right now, to be able to get ahead so that I'm not behind for next year is so much pressure. And I just struggle with it still. It's very much like a daily struggle. And like mental health is like the struggle is real. And I think probably the way that I coped best with it was creating like a female founders group so we share the stress. We share it. Nothing is more uplifting than going and like sharing that with them and being met with like true empathy.
Yes, and learnings as well.
And, you know, you might go and they're like, oh, it's okay, I've got a fix for that.
That's right.
And all of a sudden that stress is alleviated. Yeah. So, it's definitely, I wouldn't say there's one particular moment that has stood out where I've questioned my existence, but I question my existence on a regular basis. I really do. Like it isn't, it's so glorified what you see. And there's so many people that were like, I want to do what you do. It's so fun being your own boss. You get to do this. And like, even if you have flexibility, which is what it gives you, the stress that you carry around with you is the absolute trade-off. There is no time where you can just go, oh, I'm just going to have
switch off.
Time off. There is no time off.
No.
There hasn't been time off in 6 years. Like it has been constant. And that is what you commit to. And you learn to live with it. But for me and my actual disposition as like an extremely high functioning anxious person, it is a forever challenge.
Yep. And how do you maintain clarity and restraint in a world that rewards more, faster, louder?
Yeah, I think I have to often talk myself down from trying to do so much.
Yes.
Like my expectations of what the business needs to achieve and what I personally need to achieve are so ridiculously high. Yeah. Sometimes people around me need to be like, you don't need to do that, Belle. Like you can extend this or you can. But in my head, sometimes I'm so stubborn with like, no, like the store needs to be open on Friday. Honestly, like 2 days, like I'm like, the store needs to be open on Friday. Have I got anything moved in yet? No. But I like have in my head just like, you know, this FOMO, like I don't want to miss opportunity, like push. And sometimes you just have to go, if I push myself too far to the point of no return, there will be no business. There will be no.
That's
so,
true.
You know, missing out on a potential weekend of sales when I'm not like mentally equipped and the systems aren't in place probably isn't a good idea. So when you kind of think about it logically, you can kind of then go, okay, like Rome wasn't built in a day. Not everything needs to be achieved right at this moment. So sometimes you just need to have those boundaries and then kind of readjust your expectations.
Lastly, for the record, what is your scary goal? One goal that you haven't shared publicly because it feels too audacious.
At a time, it would have been the store, but here we are.
Here we are.
Yeah. I would say like probably like an international store. Like I would love one like in New York and in Paris. Like I feel like, and then like a beachy one like in Mallorca. I do feel like now, having not been the person who wants like bricks and mortar, I'm now like, I want a store everywhere. But I do think I love interior design. Like that is like one of my biggest passions. So to be able to mix a little bit of fashion with accessories and interior design and turn it into like a physical representation is probably like the most exciting thing I could imagine. And just like the endless possibilities of what you can do in that place, nothing excites me more. So I would definitely say like scary because dealing with like retail internationally, but I do think it gives you like a platform in which to like expand into that market. So I think that, you know, probably not as terrifying now that I have already got my first store going, but yeah, I would have said physical store would have been my biggest fear, but conquered.
Perfect way to end. Yeah. Thank you so much for coming on. It was so lovely to finally meet you and to have this convo with you.
Thank you.
See you soon.
It's been nice to chat for once. Yeah.